In this video, we react to Chisha Zed dropping a video talking about how the divorce rates are crashing in Kentucky after a 50-50 custody law was enacted. What does this mean for the country? What does this mean for us? And does it actually make sense? Because there are people actually pushing back against this, and they might have some good reason.
Roll clip.
So Kentucky just shocked the nation with a 25% drop in divorces. But the question, of course, is how and what exactly changed within the past few years. Well, back in 2018, Kentucky became the first state to flip the script when it came to custody. You see, instead of automatically giving the mom primary custody and dad every other weekend Disney dad role, as many of you have seen over and over again, the law made 50-50 custody the default. Unless there's proof of real abuse or neglect, the court starts from equal parenting time. Here's why that's important. The more time dad spends with his kids, the less he will have to pay in child support. Before, divorces often meant that the mom walks away with the kid and a big child support check. After the law, that's not guaranteed anymore. Now critics, mostly women's groups, say this is unfair. They argue that some...
What's unfair? I don't understand what is unfair. They made it so that it's not an automatic. Okay. I don't understand how that's unfair, but...
They argue that some mothers feel trapped in bad marriages, even abusive ones, because they worry the dad will get half custody even if they divorce. And judges have been accused of ignoring abuse claims, all because the father didn't directly lay hands on the child. But here's the other side. Men see this as finally fair. Husbands say the system no longer rewards the wife for filing for divorce just to get custody and child support. Instead, both parents have to share time, share responsibility, and share costs. So what Kentucky did was take out the financial incentive to blow up a marriage. And for a lot of men, that's exactly why they call this a win. But do the women's groups who do not like this new law have a point? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Let's see.
Divorce rate.
Shout out to Chisha Zed,
Yes.
because this is a great video, and I don't know how many views he gonna get on this. This is something that anybody who deals with relationships need to know this information. So shout out to him. I'm a little confused to see the reasoning behind it. On its face, it looks weird that you wouldn't automatically start with 50-50 because, oh my gosh, I should have covered my head. Not too late. On its face, it seems weird that we wouldn't want 50-50 custody in this environment that believes that everybody is equal, whether male or female, and there's no difference. Women are doing so well now. They're out earning and outpacing men in all of these major cities. Some people even report and act like it's across the entire country. So if it's like that across the entire country and women are generally better than men and men are nothing more than bumbling idiots. Watched the movie yesterday, pissed me off. Well, actually, every movie that I've watched that's come out in the last 10 years has pissed me off for that reason, because that's what men are. We're all bumbling idiots, and women are the one who have to come and fix everything. Well, then why wouldn't we automatically have 50-50 custody? We're no longer in the same environment that we were when all of those laws came into place. They needed to come into place because women didn't have financial backing. They couldn't even have a bank account. Couldn't have credit cards to help themselves stay afloat financially. So men had to take the financial burden. We don't live in that world anymore. And women, despite all of the things that are against them, are actually outpacing men in every metric. They're smarter, they're faster, they're stronger.
Harder, better, faster, stronger.
Okay. They're making more money. They're in every way superior to men. Why is it a problem that we don't have 50-50 custody anymore? Why do men have to take the financial burden? We broke and y'all rich. I'm confused, but that's how it looks on the surface. Let's see what else is there.
For that, judges decided custody based on what they called the best interest of the child. Fathers said that usually relegated them to an every other weekend arrangement, the so-called Disneyland dad effect, while mothers got to spend most of the time with their children. Since the law passed, divorce rates have dropped. Between 2016 and 2023, divorces in the state fell 25%, compared to 18%.
And for those of you who are like, she's pretty much telling us what you just told us. I know. The comments are really what we're going to pay a lot of attention to, and we're going to look a little bit more deeper into these ignored abuse claims that these women's groups are stating.
Nationwide. It's hailed as a victory for fathers' rights, but the story is more complicated. Some critics of the law say that people are staying in abusive marriages because they're afraid of leaving their children alone with a parent with a history of violence. One mom told me that her husband nearly killed her in 2023. She filed criminal charges and he was arrested. But less than 2 weeks after he got out of jail, a judge awarded him 50% custody of their son.
Wait, hold on, what?
Indicating that the abuse wasn't a factor since he didn't lay hands on the child. The law has become a model for other states. Arkansas, West Virginia, Florida, and Missouri
Beautiful. Beautiful.
have passed their own versions of the equal custody presumption. Around 20 other states are considering it.
Wow. I think this is a huge win. I mean, I'm surprised I haven't talked about this until now. This is huge. As always, let's check out some of these comments. Let's see what the people have to say, which the majority are women. There is this top comment by a man. He seems to be the only one here. Let's check it out. All right. This top comment, why does that matter? Because as much as people want to act like men and women aren't different, they do get treated differently in family court. All right. Drink the coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Top comment here says, when divorce rates drop, it's always a red flag. Really? Okay. This comment here says, Kentucky is second in DV. So what does that have to do with the new law? Let me explain something to you guys real quick about the DV claims that are most likely being dismissed. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but after I explain to you what I mean, this will all make a little bit more sense to you. And so I'm pulling up here Kentucky law when it comes to DV. And what it includes is physical injury, serious physical injury, right, of someone else. Of course, we have SA, assault, or the infliction of, and here's where the gray area comes, fear or imminent injury, right? So intimidating somebody is inside that broad definition of DV. It's actually a lot more broader in states like California, right? In Cali, here it says breaking property. So like in California, if you break a glass, right, and someone comes over, they will arrest you. Well, there's a high likelihood that they'll arrest you because they see that as DV. Yelling, right, throwing objects. I could see that. But the yelling, breaking glass, fear, all you have to say is, oh, I'm scared of her or oh, I'm scared of him. And now they can arrest that person for DV. It gets very broad if you ask me. Blocking someone's way, even disturbing the peace or partner. Remember, we're talking about Cali here. And so my main point here is it sounds horrible to hear like, oh, they're throwing out cases of abuse. Well, if the person's saying he was yelling at me and so he's abusive in that sense, I believe that shouldn't affect the 50-50 custody, default custody, new custody that's been set in place. But as you can imagine, to these women's groups, they want to broaden those abuse claims as much as possible. And of course, we're going to talk.
Okay. She gave a scenario with one of the cases in Kentucky with the fact that the mom was concerned because she had filed criminal charges against the husband and he got out 2 weeks later and he was awarded 50% custody.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
In this case, I don't feel like you can just say a blanket statement, okay, 50% across the board and there's no caveats. Obviously, just like with anything, if you're in a situation where your spouse is abusive, like they've been beating you up, that's what the courts are supposed to be there for. Like, you got to investigate. It wouldn't make sense to just say, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and provide this parent 50% custody off of someone who they know has a history of being abusive, even if it's not abusive directly to the child. Who's to say that once that parent or that spouse leaves the house, that for whatever reason they were using that person, that might not turn towards the child? I feel as if they have a history of being abusive, like physically abusive, I don't think it would make sense to just automatically, just because it's the law, well, 50% goes to this spouse and 50% goes to that spouse. I feel like there has to be some kind of investigation or something that goes on that would determine whether or not that person should be allowed to have the same amount of custody than the other parent if they are displaying this criminal behavior.
We, as people, have to bear responsibility and not give in to how we feel. If you're in a situation where you're dealing with a spouse, because this is specifically for marriage, who is physical with you in the wrong way, because, we can't say everything. You, despite how you may feel in the moment, because your feelings are going to be absolutely jacked up.
Okay.
You need to go and make sure you document and that you obtain proof and that you get a police report and you do certain things. Why? You're an adult. No, the courts cannot base their decision on you just saying anything. Why? Because people lie. For all of the women who would be like, women never lie, Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, y'all remember them? Jonathan Majors, y'all remember them? These people, they exist. And we like to lie to ourselves and say they don't, but they do. People are people. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Nobody's holier than thou. Some of us are trash. And then some of us, when put in situations, fold to the pressure. It's just that simple. So no matter what happens to you, even if you are a victim of SA, if you're a victim of DV, you have to get proof. Why? Because you never know how this is going to affect you in the future. You know what that effectively is? You, as an adult, have to put your feelings aside and get done what needs to be done so that you can protect yourself and your children in the future. That's what it means. If somebody put their hands on you, there needs to be a police report, period. Like, we need to stop coming up with all of these exceptions. Oh, but you know, they don't feel like it right now because, and I understand it's traumatic. It's absolutely horrible. I get it. But at the same time, you don't know how that's going to come back and bite you in the butt if you don't put your feelings aside and get done what needs to be done. And then you can break down later. You can break down tomorrow. You can break down later on tonight. Right now, you got stuff to get done. And the same thing for men, too, because we mostly talk to men on this channel. Y'all, too. Why you letting her sit up there, knock you upside the head? You walking around with a black eye. I've seen people I know show up at family events with a black eye. I'm like, what happened? And it's their girlfriend. It's their baby mama. And you know what the funny thing is? We are so much softer now, which is not a totally bad thing like everybody may think it is. But the problem is we've gone to the point that we no longer expect them to react responsibly in certain situations and to be able to push your emotions back so that you can get certain things done, unless it's making money. When it comes to making money, yo, you got to let all of that emotion stuff go and get your bag, yo. Yep. But then when it comes to these other situations, because right now making money is actually more important than our kids and our family.
Well,
so because that's the society we live in, the only time that you really are required to hold your emotions is when it's going to cost you the bag. Who cares if it's going to cost you your kids? Who cares if it's going to cost you your marriage? That's the environment we live in right now. And we bugging.
Of course, we're going to talk to our AI assistant barista, Miss Coffee. Miss Coffee, what do you think of the gray area abuse claims? And do you think those are most likely areas where judges may not see that as a cause to not give 50-50 custody?
So yes, something like a broken dish or a loud argument can be filed under DV if the other person says they were threatened or intimidated. Gray area DV examples: things that may not prove someone is truly violent, but could be used in court: property damage, breaking a dish, punching a wall, throwing a phone, verbal fights, shouting matches, cursing, threats that weren't acted on, text messages, social media, angry or harassing messages even if no physical act happened, police called but no arrest, neighbors call the cops after a loud argument, report gets written up, mutual shoving, blocking, someone blocks a doorway during a fight, or light physical contact that leaves no injury. Arguments in front of kids could be spun as creating a harmful environment. Substance-fueled fights, raised voices, broken items, accusations, even if no one is hurt. What happened before versus after Kentucky's 2018 law, before 2018, even these gray area incidents could be used by a mom's lawyer to argue dad was unsafe. Right. That often pushed judges to give mom primary custody for the best interest of the child. Result: dad downgraded to every other weekend and higher child support payments kicked in. After 2018, with 50-50ths default, judges start with equal custody. Those weaker DV claims don't automatically block dad from parenting time. Moms can't use minor or ambiguous incidents to tilt custody and therefore child support in their favor as easily.
So she gave some nuance there. So it could be mutual shoving. We're getting information now that we didn't have a couple of years ago, especially not decades ago when a lot of these other laws were put into place. But they talk about the difference in DV between the types of relationships. And what was found is that the most violent relationship is woman on woman. The one in the middle is woman and man. And the one with the least amount of violence is man on man. And I personally have been in situations where I've seen women knocking dudes upside, well, not really upside the head, pushing, punching, all types of stuff. I've seen it all. Unfortunately, I was raised 1 block away from the hood. So, you know, I went to school 1 block away from where they used to sell a paraphernalia to other people, if you get what I'm saying. I mean, literally 1 block. So I've seen a lot, and I can say I saw more often than not it coming from one side than the other. And it wouldn't be surprised to me that the more emotional side might be the one to get more physical, but we let it slide because they're the weaker vessel, according to the Bible, right? But we're equal now. So all of that's thrown out the window. We're not doing any of that crap anymore. Now we're equal. Y'all are just as strong as us. Y'all knock us out. Y'all kick us down. Y'all do all types of stuff. And because we're completely equal, we got to be equal across the board now, jokers. We need to take y'all jokers to jail. See how y'all like it. Yup, your turn. Anything to add?
Comment your thoughts down below and let us know what you think.
A few more comments here. This commenter here says, I guarantee you mothers are staying to protect their kids. Come on. And
I didn't even let it get that far. If that's the case, then the amount of divorces from women to men, which they're saying is going from 70 to 80%, women are initiating. If they were staying to just protect their kids, they need to start staying to protect their kids from all of the negative effects that being in a single parent home brings. They need to have a clear understanding of when the environment is so toxic that you just got to exit it, because that does happen. And when the environment is not really toxic, but just because you ain't happy, you're willing to sacrifice your kids. But in this instance, they're staying to protect their kids.
I don't believe you.
Yo, the double standards and the straight flat out lies to the face is off right now. Like, let's just be honest about it. Y'all can tell I'm in the mood. I'm not in the mood to dealing with the bull. Let's call it what it is.
People don't think about it that way.
sure, do judges need to make sure that they're very thorough when it comes to making sure DV claims are validated, if they're true or not? Yes. But to make this law sound like men are just these abusive creatures who can't have time with their children is insane.
She's lying.
This is crazy. This comes down to also feminism and their view on men. By the way, did you know that statistically, single fathers do a better job of raising children than single mothers? This is the truth. This is proven. Somebody else here added patriarchy at its worst. Here's somebody else that says, I hate this for the women and kids of Kentucky. Listen, I think this is coming everywhere. I want it to go everywhere. Somebody else who says economically trapped. So this person responded back to, I hate this for the women and kids, and says, kids getting time with their dads equally, which is better for the kids, studies show. Kentucky just doesn't let women grape men through divorce and take the kids. You know, studies show that kids need their fathers. But when it comes to a modern woman, a modern feminist woman, and choosing between her own wants and desires, regardless of what studies say is best for the child, they will always pick themselves. They will always pick themselves. We've seen this over and over again, which is why they justify divorce, because they are unhappy. Here's somebody else who said,
okay, we could stop there just because that was enough. But here's what I will say as my finishing comment. Number one, there's a large group of women, especially more modern-minded women, who will blow up their marriage, their home, do irreparable damage to their children because they're not happy. We actually did a video to it. We didn't drop it, guys, because we got interrupted. It got cut off. The Charlize Theron video, where she was talking and she was wilding out, talking about she had slept with a 26-year-old or some crap like that. And she was like, talking about some, I'm happy that I don't have to deal with none of my baby fathers. I could do everything. And she was like, and people tell me,
she didn't have to answer to nobody.
She didn't have to answer to nobody. And people tell me that, it's going to do all of this damage to the kids. Well, that'll be their story to tell. But all she's worried about is what she's happy about. And that is a group of women who are modern minded, that's it. There's another group of women who need to get out of the house because there is legitimate DV happening and they don't do it.
Right.
Or a legitimate essay happening of the children and they don't do it. There's a point at which is like, look, if things get to the point where they're so bad in the house and you can't reason with somebody and they're getting physical, you need to exit. That's for the dudes too. If the woman is hitting on you, she wilding out, she throwing, you need to bounce, bro. First of all, you can't stay there because regardless of what they say about equality, it's not. Nope. Everything is your fault unless you can prove without a shadow of a doubt. And even if you do that, you'll still probably lose everything. Johnny Depp, Jonathan Majors. We live in a society that really does not care about men in general. They don't. So you got to protect yourself. But women don't sit there and stay in a situation where it's legitimate stuff happening. Like, okay, if you're religious and stuff like that, Lord ain't never said stay there, get your head knocked in. He didn't say that. Go somewhere, put his butt in jail. But on the flip side, if you lying about it, then you need to be in jail. That's where I feel. I don't know. I don't know if you have any last comments.
I couldn't understand why the first comment was basic. I forgot what it said, but it basically said like it was unfair or like wrong or whatever. I'm like,
the first comment I think he read was anytime the divorce rate goes down, it's a red flag.
That's dumb.
it's like, huh?
Some people's brains is just mush, y'all.
I don't know. That's just
Some people's brain is
that's
just
weird
mush.
to me. But like you said, the society in which we live in right now, unfortunately, or at least what's being publicized, what is being pushed in the media is ultra feminism, if that's a word that you can even use. It's just like the extreme.
Right.
So anything dealing with men, it's just like ick. You know, I don't think making a law where 50% is the standard is wrong. To me, that should have been the case from the get-go. Like, it shouldn't be an automatic, like, okay, well, mom gets full custody and dad just gets the weekends. Like, really? Like, how is that fair?
That's unfair.
It's incredibly unfair.
Like, that doesn't make sense. Like,
And on our last video, I remember the lady was sitting up there talking about the dads just show up on the weekends. And then I was like, well, that's what they're scheduled to. And if the mom says, no, I'm not going to make any concessions on it, guess what he's relegated to regardless of what he wants?
yeah.
Exactly what is the standard.
Right.
So the reason a lot of guys do the standard is because that's what's there. Now there is a group of guys who are jerks
Of course.
who don't really want to be there for their kids. It's a
Absolutely.
lot of them.
Yeah, we got.
Let's not act like it.
We got a meme of that right here.
What do you want?
You know what I want, Charity. I'm here to pick up my son. Hey, son. All right, I'm out. I'll be back next week to pick him up again.
So let's not act like they don't exist. But on the flip side, there's no way to be able to tell if that's most guys or if most guys are the other way. I don't know. I think for a lot of guys, there are two main factors. Number one, what do they think of you? And then secondly, did they want kids in the first place? Because if the guy never wanted you, but you got pregnant, then that would be a problem. That would come for all of the one night stand babies. That would come for all of the, we were breaking up and we did something. That would come for, he never even was my boyfriend or my fiance or my husband and we were doing whatever. He was just using you. He never wanted to be with you. So when you made the decision that, no, I'm going to keep the baby, he was like, I don't want to be with you. I don't want nothing to do with you. He never wanted anything to do with you as a lady. Like, he didn't. And if that's the guy that you're rocking with and that's the guy you're giving yourself to with, there's some accountability you got to take. Like, why are you giving yourself to somebody like that?
Yeah, there's that part. But now this will hold them accountable because regardless of whether or not they wanted to, the kid didn't ask to be here. So, hey, it's on both of y'all now to figure it out.
And just to be clear, the 50-50 is the standard, which means if there are circumstances where you can prove that something is off on either side,
Right.
whether financial, physical, or any other way, it starts to swing in your favor. And it should have been always there, especially since we've had these stats about single dad versus single mom households for years now. This is not brand new. They knew this. And it makes a lot of sense because in the Bible, for those of you who believe, I've seen fathers told to specifically to take care of their children.
Right.
I don't think that there's a specific verse in the Bible that tells a mom to take care of her children specifically. It says mom take care of the home, but not necessarily the children specifically. Now, there are some indications there because when it talks to the children, it says obey your parents, your mother, and your father. So she's obviously doing it, but she wasn't directly told. And I think there's a reason that those things were said specifically and in the way they were. Number one, you're not going to take care of the home and then not take care of your kid. You know what? You're going to stay over there dirty, unwashed, and hungry, and I'm going to clean the house. It's going to be spotless. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's just, it's in our nature.
Right. And there's that part. But
Yeah.
then because men sometimes will have some confusion about what role they should play in their children's house, I think that it was specifically said, you need to be there. Why? Because the stats that will be here in 1900 years show that dads need to be there. Totally not what happened. I'm just throwing that in there. But I think there's a reason that our forefathers, or not even our forefathers, but, you know, people from way back, we're figuring a lot of things out that they've known for years, centuries, millennia.
Yep, we just got to listen. You know the saying, those who forget their past are doomed to repeat it? We trying to forget all the stuff that happened back in the day. We trying to erase certain things, and here you go.
It's a lot happening with that too, but well, I don't know. I don't know if we'll release a video on that.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King stuff, but go ahead.
Okay, well, if you made it this far, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications, and give us a thumbs up. All right, really, it helps with the algorithm. It tells YouTube that you appreciate what we're putting down.
What we're putting down.
Hey, everybody. Down in the description, there are 2 links.
One is to a GoFundMe, and the other one is to a video that explains what the GoFundMe is for. Long story short, we have a medical situation with our daughter that we have to pay for everything out of pocket, and we can really use you guys' help. If you have the time, we'd love for you to go check it out. If you have the money, the funds, we'd love for you guys to help. If not, maybe you could send a link to somebody else who can help. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Press the out button.